Thank you to Liquid IV for sponsoring this video. More on them in just a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at AMC Universal City Walk because Coy and I, we just finished moments ago watching the Ryan Coogler Michael B Jordan joint Sinners. Now, if you've seen the trailer for this movie, you know he's playing twins than Michael B Jordan, and it's a vampire movie. But before we watched this movie, we were both like, I bet it's going to be a lot more than a vampire movie. We anticipated that. I did not anticipate how much more it would be than a vampire movie. It's a film that deals with so many things, and before we go into any of that, it would help a lot if you guys could leave a like on this video, because that helps us out in the algorithm and helps promote future videos for you guys. But there's some stuff to go into that might be a little bit difficult because we want to dance around some stuff, because the trailers kind of reveal a lot, but they also reveal like close to nothing in a lot of other ways as well.
Oddly accurate, yes.
Yeah, as much as I want to like go into like the general stuff, what's like the first thing on your mind when it comes to this movie, Coy?
That it is an incredible use of music as a character, and that as soon as I changed my mindset from remix is something that adjusted everything for me, and it went from being a good movie to a great movie when I realized that the concept of bridges and hooks and choruses are used throughout the film, as is sampling and anecdotally using film in the same way that so much music is remixed and sampled. And I really love that music is not only a supporting character but a leading character, but the themes of music resonate not just literally and metaphorically but even thematically and in the function of the film.
The movie is also so much about the way the music makes you feel, of how music in and of itself is very much generational. And to liken it to vampires, where vampires are immortal and how music is kind of immortalized, and how it can... I'm fascinated with the concept of being able to access parts of your brain that could go to ancestral memories. And this movie deals a lot with heritage, ancestry, culture, and the way music can play on that. They do some incredibly experimental things, and this movie in so many ways is more about music than it is about vampires. And the vampires are kind of used in a metaphorical way. I think there's a lot of ways you can interpret a lot of what is going down. And when the movie was playing out with the vampire element, it's like, oh, they're kind of like colonizers. They're bloodsuckers who go invade this place that should be for like black community to express themselves and let themselves out, and then a couple of white folks show up, and
They want to make it their way.
they want to come into our cult, come into our little cult. And I like how it's about culture, but it's also about cult as well, you know.
And that line in the sand between, like, the line between being a fan and a fanatic, the line between culture and cult is very fine. And I really appreciate that the film manages to walk that line of community being a positive, but cult being a negative. And the film dances the line of what it is to be good and how you enhance your community, because it is about certain types of people that have harmed other communities trying to do right by their own. And that's also interesting as a conversation of what it takes to survive in any world and how recent all of those elements were. That was really striking to me, is this is a film about so many things, that is a period piece, that is production design, but these stories are so everlasting and they are so permanent into our zeitgeist, and music kind of ties in how evergreen all of this is, because just like that, music anchors us to any given time in a really wonderful way.
And speaking of music, the music in the movie itself is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because the music is a character in this film. And beyond the actual characters who are playing music, the music itself that sometimes feels like out of different eras. Like this film has so many different inspirations. There are times it reminds me straight up of John Carpenter's The Thing. There's other elements of John Carpenter in general here. There's this vampire movie called Salem's Lot, Stephen King, where it feels a lot like it. From Dusk Till Dawn was the main thing that
so much Rodriguez and Tarantino for me.
Kept popping into my head of From Dusk Till Dawn, like two brothers, and it's imagine like the twister, and that's where it mainly takes place the entire movie, because the film structurally wise, it's a slow build. I think that's a really important note to give. Another really important note I'll give is, hey, don't leave the theater right away because
the format of this movie
Yes.
is fascinating. It
It's
is
a
not
fascinating
a
format.
traditional 3-act structure. It is not something that like, oh, we got to that point, let's move on. Or even something that's like, oh, those are credits. I guess that it has entire foundational elements post-credit.
the second the movie ended, half the theater left the way
Fools.
we do. And what follows is a mid-credit scene. There's
That's
two,
a full-on
and
epilogue.
it's epilogue. Epilogue was the way where we were using. Like, this is a full epilogue. This is it. This is the true wrap up to it. It's not like a fun little Marvel stinger or some shit like that. The movie's not complete.
It's not. A lot of people, 80% of people,
Most of the theater was gone.
insane. And that scenes are so incredible. And also then there's a final button that is a beautiful metaphor of so many themes in the film that also ties to music.
Well, the movie deals a lot about with choice. It deals a lot with influence as well, generational trauma. I was surprised by how seamlessly woven it is. And whereas From Dusk Till Dawn is very much like two different movies. One's like a brother heist movie, then all of a sudden it's a vampire movie. I wouldn't say that. The thing is, the part of the trailers that come in that everyone will show up for the excitement of the vampire stuff, I will say it takes a while to get there. I won't say the exact runtime. I did check my watch, not because I was bored. I was just more curious. And when it does get there, it's a build to it because the movie's doing a lot to get you really invested in the community. It's so much more, it's truly a period piece and less a gimmick. Yet when it does the vampire stuff, it knows how to play to the pulp.
That was when I had to think remix, because the first half of the movie I was more invested in the story, and then when the vampires came in, I was like, oh, that's exciting. And then that changing of mindset really enhanced, so the whole experience is more solid. And delayed, overdue Academy Award for Delroy Lindo.
Incredible.
Should have gotten it for Defy Bloods, and he definitely deserves it here. That dude is a powerhouse, man.
Michael B. Jordan plays two brothers here, and at first I had, maybe you did too, I had to readjust. Where
Took a little bit.
I was hyper aware, and maybe it comes with the territory when you're aware you're seeing two Michael B. Jordans and you're wondering like him doing the acting.
I
of it.
wasn't one of the Michael Jordan.
Yeah. I would say about like 20 or so minutes in, I found myself completely forgetting that.
Same.
He immerses himself into both characters. There's so many scenes where both of them are together in the same scene, and because the movie does incredible character build and alluding to their past, and both of them. The best part about performances is when I think you can really feel the history that each actor brings to it. He clearly brought history to both these characters because you could feel the past, and they're both distinct. Even though initially, outside of like teeth, they look exactly the same, even facial hair and all.
Yeah.
He brings different cadences to both. There's different rhythms, slight different inflections in the voice. One's has a little bit more fun. The other's a little bit more stern, more alpha. And I think he does an excellent job of portraying both. Same time, while he's playing two characters, Delroy Lindo.
Dude,
whatever
stealing every
he
scene
says
he's
anything
in.
in this movie.
I am enamored.
He is taking the spotlight away from two Michael B. Jordans.
Which is so impressive. When you steal the spotlight from not one, but two Michael B. Jordans. I also want to give some love to Jack O'Connell. I feel like a lot of people don't know the name Jack O'Connell, and they absolutely should. Dude is incredible in Startup. Dude is so good in so many things you've seen and been like, oh, that guy. He is so mesmerizingly intense in this film, and I love when a vampire movie can have a character that you're like, why am I in some tiny way enjoying their malice and their vitriol? And here they not only have some of the best practical character design work I've seen in a very long time, but that fun playfulness and whimsy and maliciousness, Jack O'Connell slays. Like I was so impressed with him.
The whole cast is great.
Yeah.
I
Not a wink
did
link.
not look up any of the other actors' names. Hailee Steinfeld.
Hailee Steinfeld, incredible. Newcomer as the co-lead.
Oh, the main cousin?
The
cousin?
brand new.
So the
first
real
role.
All right, Reject Nation, quick personal update. On January 25th, I was 218 pounds. As of today, I'm down to 188. That's 30 pounds lost. Six-pack Greg is coming in. And while there's been a lot of factors, one of the biggest keys has been keeping my energy up, especially while having to up my cardio. And to help out with that, I've been drinking a little thing called Liquid IV every single day. Already a consumer before we ever partner with them. Lucky guy, what can I say? I like to take their sugar-free hydration formula, and honestly, I do feel a difference. I'm so appreciative that it actually tastes really good too. And truth be told, whether I'm coming off a workout or even having a rest day, I still take it. I just feel better whenever I take it. And here's why it works. One stick in 16 ounces hydrates better than water alone, thanks to their specific LIV Hydra Science formula. Something I've definitely committed to memory, what that exactly all entails, beyond just knowing it actually really gets the job done and is healthy. But I do remember that it delivers 3 times the electrolytes in the leading sports drinks. It's also packed with essential vitamins like B12 and vitamin C, which are huge for recovery, energy, and staying sharp. And the flavors, as you just saw, raspberry lemonade is my go-to. Actually, I have a variety pack. Lemon lime, pretty good too. Oh, tangerine. Tangerine's also pretty solid. They're pretty good no matter which one you get. Liquid IV has become a non-negotiable part of my routine. So if you're doing cardio, strength training, or cutting calories, or wish to feel better throughout your day, hydration really is one of the easiest, most overlooked wins. Some this weird guy in his mid-30s who really appreciates the value of being hydrated. So if you'd like to support your body and in turn support the channel, you can head to liquidiv.com and use code REJECTS for 20% off your first order. That's 20% off when you use code REJECTS at liquidiv.com. If you've been thinking about it, this is your sign. Give it a try. It helped me stay on track. It still helps me stay on track, and I believe it'll help you too. Thank you, Liquid IV.
Really?
Dude, they discovered him casting for this.
I didn't know that.
Francine Maisler, iconic casting director, took tapes, and this kid came out of it.
So there's the brothers, but the real main character, or one of the real main characters, is the cousin in the film, and he is for sure like a highlight of this experience, and he brings I would have thought he's been around forever.
I felt like a veteran. He kept up with everybody.
Literally blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
He's incredible in the film, and then there's a whole giant supporting cast here, and every one of them brings uniqueness and makes this feel lived in. I loved how much it actually felt like a period piece movie where you did feel like you slipped into Mississippi in this time period in like the early 1900s. It's like Prohibition era that it takes place in.
And as someone like I was raised Boston, but I was born on the North Carolina border. My grandparents are there. I visit them often. I am a very North Kakalaki tuned. It was so cool to see a movie that is vampires not set in a city, not set in like the 1700s, to see an early 1900s period piece in the South added so much flavor, and it is so important thematically to the film.
Yeah, it's really hard not to spoil certain things that do occur in the movie, huh?
I'm dancing as best I can.
See, the thing is, the movie has a lot of depth to it, and I think the voice of Ryan Coogler here, he really shines. If you think about the last couple things we often saw Ryan Coogler do, there's Marvel movies, which inherently are going to have some form of restriction. And, he did the Creed movie, the first Creed movie. This is an original film, original ideas, and it is like a cult movie, B movie with a giant budget to it, because it's very experimental. The use of sound design in this movie is phenomenal. It makes it immersive. We saw this on IMAX. It is definitely the preferred format for it, because it uses actual IMAX cameras.
And you're like,
he knew when to. He would do the thing where we go letterbox and then watch a transition to full frame.
Yeah.
And the scope to immerse you into it works. And at times it felt like so cool, like a video game when you're doing it, like you're watching a cutscene, and then you would go into like an action scene, and he would go full frame, like, oh, it's like a video game.
Yeah.
And even though it has all this depth to it, Ryan Coogler's clearly having fun. His love for music shines in this film, and this movie does feel like jazz overall, with how it ebbs and flows through so many different genres.
And I gotta say, Ryan Coogler is one of my favorite directors working right now. I think Fruitvale Station is so painful and so beautiful and so wonderful and so important. I think Black Panther elevates the entire genre. I think Creed is one of the best requels of all time. Like, to try to come back from like Rocky and somehow improve and modernize like that story, insane. So I was very, very excited for this film. This is, I think, the most watchable and fun of his work.
Of his originals, probably, yeah.
Like, it's just joy. Yeah. Like, because there's a lot of darkness in it, and there's a lot of harrowing situations, a lot of blood, gore, violence, and the subject matter. But like, you can feel the fun he's having, and I think, without giving it away, that is part of the nature of what the film is supposed to bring out in you, is that acknowledgement of that importance.
Yeah, I'd agree.
The dance is real. How do I talk about a movie that has so much going on?
And it's called Sinners, rightfully so, because it's very much also there's this interesting contrast the movie does, where early on you see the church lifestyle of the community, but they have this thing in them that needs to get another side of them out, where they have to do a little bit of debauchery, a lot like lust. You know, to go from lust to bloodlust seems very specific in this film. It hits on a different note. Like, I love the vampire genre, and I think with him here, he really understands the vampire genre. He really understands the vampire rules, because a lot of it is about desire, and this film deals a lot with desire and temptation in ways that I didn't expect. He almost takes like a magnifying glass to the themes of a lot of vampire movies.
And I loved him picking which rules he wanted to. He didn't ignore rules, but I love that he doubled down on some rules.
But the rules are good.
And it really works for this story. And those rules, even if you get rid of the vampire element, are great for this story.
It's a great
the
movie.
parameters he gives himself.
Yeah, I would say that it's not flawless, though. I think that at times it's a little self-indulgent in terms of. And but I kind of question, like, is it because I didn't show up for the music movie that I kind of think that, because the trailers do set you for this like horror, gothic horror, which is all it's there. It does come, and like when it does arrive, it like the reward, the payoff is so good, and it's not like boring beforehand. I found myself as an audience member like, I'm itching to get to it though.
Yeah,
you know, because the movie does tease you with it early on, and I think I wonder if part of that is a screenplay structure note that they gave, because they're like, you're taking a long time to get to the vampire thing. Maybe tease us early on. Unlike From Dusk Till Dawn, tease us early on.
We sold this as a vampire movie, Ryan. We should
because like the sets are built, everything looks great. The costume designs are awesome. You can feel the wet ickiness of it all. I love the period piece vibe, and I think at times it does take. I think maybe it took. I did notice even the crowd was kind of like checking their phone a lot.
Oh, interesting.
During that first like hour or so, I wasn't tempted to, but yeah, that's probably about all I'd really say about it.
My biggest skepticism or note is that it does feel like the genre shift is jarring, and it's not a linear genre shift, but I was very aware that I was really enjoying the Southern Gothic film first half, and then when it turned into Southern Gothic gore horror, I was like, but I was happy over there, and like it took a little like rectifying of my own mind, but again, as soon as I thought remix, I was like, oh, I'm engaged, but that could just be unique to my experience. I would definitely
eventually does I get what you mean, though. Sorry to interrupt.
I have to.
It eventually does float.
Yeah, but it takes a little bit,
because
and I don't know if that's by choice.
It's so contrastingly pulpy when it's there. Like,
and that took us
because they give like little teases before they go all out.
Right.
And then whenever it's there, it becomes like so pulpy to the point where I was like going, I don't feel like you needed some of that.
Yeah,
earlier in the film.
Rodriguez, because I was like, whoa.
But
a
it's
blast.
fun though.
It's a blast.
It's a weird thing.
What
It's
a fun time.
Like in that before it just becomes the vampire movie.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. Before it solely becomes that.
Still, it's so interesting and fun.
It's
and
so gripping.
weird.
But then when it would cut to like a little bit of a vampire thing, it was contrastingly like so B movie.
And I feel like some of that was intentional, but not enough that I can rationalize or I can know how I feel about it. It's me not knowing how I feel about those moments, and I don't know if that's by choice.
Because it is a kind of thing to compare it to From Dusk Till Dawn, because From Dusk Till Dawn it's kind of a similar thing where it's one genre, then it's a completely different pulpy vampire movie genre. But it doesn't ever even go full pulp.
In the ways that
pulpy,
this does.
it's violent, it's gory, but even when it does become the full vampire movie, it still feels very rhythmic
and very highbrow.
Like music feels highbrow, feels like a play.
Yeah.
I loved the movie. I honestly did. I thought
you can't tell,
loved it.
we both loved it quite a lot.
I loved it.
What a time.
Some of the things we are talking about where there were some criticisms, I'm going, maybe on a rewatch, this actually won't even feel this way.
I think this is going to be a fantastic second round movie.
Yeah. So yeah, watch it on IMAX if you can, a proper IMAX.
So many spoilers are going to be out there. We did a very tricky dance. We're trained professionals.
Very tricky, long, non-spoiler
Watch this
dance.
movie.
Yeah.
Like before you hear too much about it. I would have been upset knowing a lot of the things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I already think like this was as blind as I could have seen it with trailers. See it as blind as you can. Try not to read or watch too much about it.
All right, guys. So that's our thoughts on Sinners. What's your favorite vampire movie? Leave your thoughts down below.
Lost Boys.
I have not seen that.
Blind boys don't lie, Greg.
Because there's so much.
Cry, little sister.
No, that's not Carpenter. That's Schumacher, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
dude.
Carpenter did Vampire. Oh, yeah.
The Lost Boys. What's yours?
I'm on the super artsy side. I'll let the right one in.
Oh, that movie's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that one.
So good.
Yeah.
The original or the remake?
The original.
Okay,
I don't
hell
mind
yeah.
the remake.
Yeah,
but-
that's for remakes. As remakes go, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty solid shot for shot American remake.
Pretty solid. Pretty solid. They just did it again.
Good job doing
Hey,
the
I
original.
like that. Do it again.
That's a good version of the original.
Just record.
Yeah, let the right one in. That one really moves me a lot. But I love the vampire. I like all the spectrum. Anyway,
Dude, you're gonna love Lost Boys.
I know. It's one I want to react to. Leave your thoughts down below. We'll talk with you guys soon.